It is absolutely awesome to have you here today. I have 5 surefire putting hacks that are going to help you to drain more putts today. Let's go ahead and get started. So one of the biggest problems we have is getting wristy with these short to mid-range putts. It seems like we get to a really pressure putt, we really need to make this one, and that's when the hands and arms start to act up, and we hardly ever make those. So there's a great solution to this. All we need to do is put a golf ball between our right forearm and the top of the putting grip. Now as I take my normal grip, I'm going to notice there's a little tiny bit of pressure between my right forearm and my wrist. Now if I move my wrist at all of a sudden that ball is going to fall out. So I really have to be super stable with my wrist and my arms. I'm not going to get very much hand action in there, or that golf ball will fall out right away. And I'm going to stay stable over this. It's going to help me to make some more putts. Now keeping with that same theme of eliminating the wrist from the putting stroke, getting a really good feel for the putting stroke, I recommend you putt with a wedge. Now right away with a wedge, something you'll realize is you have to be much more precise than you do with the putter. If I'm a little bit off, now it's going to be a big miss. So I don't actually mind if you make any putts with a wedge. What I'm trying to get you to do is have a much better feel with your hands and how to control the club face when you're making a putting stroke. So the first thing we want to do here, this is what's called random practice. So there's tons of research out there in motor learning that says if we can actually practice on the extremes both ways, it's going to increase our feel and we're going to keep that feel for a longer period of time. So when you're putting with this wedge, here's what I want you to do. I want you to purposely hit some putts off the toe of the wedge and off the heel of the wedge. Immediately you'll start to feel how it wants to open up the club face a little bit when I hit it off the toe, and how it wants to close the club face a little bit when I hit it off the heel. You'll start to really be able to feel that much more in the wedge than you would be with a putter. Second, from there, I want you to try to hit this a little bit lower on this golf ball. So the problem with the wedge is if I start to hit, especially if I get out to 20 or 30 feet, and I hit a little lower on the golf ball, the bottom of the golf ball, that ball is going to pop up in the air. Then we're going to hit a little higher on the golf ball. We're going to notice that that ball is going to smush down on the ground and then hop up and roll too. So I have to hit it right in the equator, very fine-tuned and precise to get this ball to roll pretty well. So we're trying to hit off the toe, we're trying to hit off the heel, we're trying to hit low and high, and then finally, let's find that middle zone in between where we actually hit right off the center of the face and in the equator or the center of the ball. Now you may be asking, why use a wedge? What's the point of this? Well, this speeds up your improvement process. It speeds up the time it's going to take you to develop this feel because it's just too easy with a putter. If we don't get enough feedback, we're not really sure what we're doing. With a putter, I got this big, wide, flat face. I can hit it anywhere on there and it's going to be fine. With a wedge, I just have this one thin, tiny bit of a line. If I'm off at all, I'm going to get that immediate feedback and I'm going to develop feel much faster. So the wedge, a great way to practice your putting. Now here's a great way to determine if you're releasing the face correctly. A lot of times what I'll see players do is they try to hold this face dead square, they make this great putting stroke and they try to guide it into the hole. Whenever you guide it, what ends up happening is that face ends up opening up because we're dragging the handle forward, and a lot of times the heel will be releasing faster than the toe of the putter. Now with all the research out there, what they've shown is the face is going to open up slightly in the backstroke. For players to have more of a straight back and straight through, that may not be very much. If players have a little bit more of an arc, that's going to be slightly more opening, but everybody opens it a little bit in the backstroke. It squares up to square at impact and then closes a little bit coming through. So with all great putters, we're seeing that face open and close. When that happens, the toe of the putter is moving a little bit faster than the heel of the putter. So if I hit 2 balls, when I make contact, I should see this outside of this toe ball go a little bit farther than this inside ball. So if I go ahead and hit one here, and I'm going to hit it toward the hole, but I'm actually not going to make any of these, probably won't make any of these, but I'm looking to see if that outside ball went just a little bit faster. You can see those were pretty even, so that means my heel and my toe are moving pretty similar speed. If I grab one and I move with a lot more of the toe, so I move the toe much faster, we're going to see that toe ball is going to outrace the heel by quite a bit. See how it jumped out another 3 or 4 inches in front. Now if I'm doing it incorrectly, then I'm really holding off that release and I'm trying to guide that ball in there. That's the worst thing we can do in putting. We're gonna see that heel starts to guide it toward there. I'm really holding off on this and my heel kind of outraces my toe. That's one of the worst things you can do in putting. So in this one, we'll notice the inside ball really jumps out in front and we'll see that heel one just caught out a little bit there. So it's just a fine-tuned difference. If your balls are even, that's completely fine. If the toe ball is going a little bit more, that's great too. But what we don't want to have is that heel ball racing way out in front, or we don't want a lot of difference. We don't want to see the toe going one time and then the heel ball going one time and then the toe ball going one time. We want to get nice and even. Try to hit 10 or 15 of these putts with even strokes, with the toe ball just barely out racing the heel ball. Now here's another big mistake I see. When players are reading their putts, they're way too close to the golf ball. Now from here, it's almost like I'm looking straight down at the golf ball at a sea of green. I really can't see the break. If you want to accurately read the break, we've got to go farther back. You'll notice as we start to look at some pictures from 30 or even 40 feet behind this golf ball, it becomes much more apparent which way this overall green is sloping. Now I can easily see that this putt's going to break to the right, whereas when I was closer, it's a little tougher to see. The plumb bob, one of my favorite surefire hacks to read putts correctly. The cool thing about this is it's based on cold, hard science. It's the same way you would plumb up a house. You hold that string down to see if your frame is perfectly straight up and down. We're doing the same thing for putting. If we do this correctly, it's going to be perfectly accurate to telling us if the putt's going to break to the right or to the left. If we do it incorrectly, that's when the problems are going to come up. So the first thing I need to do is I need to step behind this putt. I need to have the center of my feet, the golf ball, and the hole all in one perfectly straight line. If I'm standing over to the side, one way or the other, this isn't going to work. Then I'm going to grab the putter really loosely in my two fingers so it can swivel freely. And I'm going to put the bottom of the shaft completely covering the golf ball. Then the top of the shaft is either going to be to the left of the hole or to the right of the hole if it's a breaking putt. Now here, the putter shaft is to the left of the hole. That means this putt is going to break to the right. That's due to the slope of the green. So when you hold up this putter, it's not going to be even with the slope of this. If I came over to the other side of the hole, then it would be going the opposite way. The shaft would be to the right side of the hole and the putt would break to the left from that way. If I have a dead straight putt, both the ball and the hole are going to be in a straight line. So this is really cool when you're trying to figure out, does a putt break to the right, does it break to the left? I'm not really sure. Now we got a surefire way based on science to know without a shadow of a doubt. All right, so take these 5 putting hacks. You're going to get the wristiness out of your stroke. You're going to feel a lot more confident and you're going to be able to better read the greens. Most importantly, we're going to drain a lot more putts. Now, if you want to be a great putter, we have to groove that putting stroke. In this video, we talked about how to get rid of that wristiness, but how do we get a stroke that happens the same way over and over again? That way, when the pressure is on, it holds up under the gun. That's exactly what I'm going to show you in this next video. I'm going to play a preview of one of my best videos to groove your putting stroke. Go ahead and click the card that pops up on your screen or a link down below in the description. Let's go ahead and get to work. That way you become automatic. Let's get started. Hi guys, and welcome to the Top Speed Golf putting system. In this video, we're going to talk about the stroke itself. So one of the first fundamentals I think to have a really good consistent stroke is we have to set up to the ball in the same way every time. And what I like to do is I like to have my eyes directly over top of the ball, over top of the target line. And I have a great little putting mirror here made by Eyeline that I use a lot to help me get lined up. And it's simply got a black line going down the center. So when I'm looking down, I want to see my eyes directly on this black line, and I want my lead eye almost on the back of the ball, all the way down the shaft to be in one straight line. So if you're looking at this, as I set up, if you draw a line up from the shaft, that should be splitting my forearms, and they're going to be lined up with that shaft. And what that's going to allow me to do is take a lot of wrist out of the stroke.